Hey everybody, and welcome to Top of the Pods, your only place for top 10 lists of movies, music, entertainment industry, whatever it is you like to watch, listen to, or do other things too. We're here to give you 10 reasons why you should or shouldn't watch certain films, and today we're going to review the new film, Exorcist, The Exorcist Believer. So this is going to be 10 reasons why you should or shouldn't watch this movie. Before we get into some of the reasons, lads, what overall did you think of this sequel, or whatever you want to call it, a requel, or whatever you call it these days? Father Tom, we'll come to you first as you're appropriately dressed for the occasion.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I shouldn't take the Lord's name in vain. Oh, I thought this was rubbish. It's one of those movies where I'm sort of glad I'm not reviewing it on my own channel because there's only so many ways you can say this is bad, don't see it. It's not very good. I thought it was just really, I think the biggest sin it committed, right, is that it was really dull. Like it is the laziest of these legacy reboots I can think of. It just felt aimless. It felt like they had no clear idea of what they were going to do. I don't know how anyone could really like this movie, either as an Exorcist sequel or just another horror movie. I think even removing that is just not
Mm-hmm.
very interesting or scary. I don't know how anyone could be looking forward to a sequel, let alone two sequels, if they happen. I know they're like, we're going ahead, but like 400 million just to get the rights to The Exorcist is maybe up there with the dumbest Hollywood move. And I actually forgot, like we talked about The Exorcist before, we talked about our thoughts and ideas for the sequel, like, and I forgot I had a whole video at that one stage, where I just basically like, this is the dumbest idea ever. There's no way it's going to pay off, and lo and behold, it isn't paying off. People hate the movie. It's not doing very well. And considering the wide litany of exorcism movies, they basically just paid a bit of money to call it Exorcist instead of a film with exorcism in the title, and it was totally unnecessary. I guess they got to bring back Ellen Burstyn. I guess that's the main thing. It sucks. I'm gonna hold back now because I feel like I'm gonna say too
Well,
much.
that's we're going to do 10, so that's one reason why you should or shouldn't watch this movie. It is going to be a trilogy, so if you're going to watch this movie, if you've seen it and you're watching this and you want to know what happens, or you haven't seen it and you want to know what happens, there is going to be a trilogy. They have paid $400 million for a trilogy, regardless if it bombs at the box office or not. They are making a trilogy, whether
I
it
also
goes
just want
straight
to
to
make
DVD
it
or
clear because
not.
there's some people that are confused with that. 400 million doesn't count any of the production or marketing. That is
No,
just to say
just
we're making
we're
exorcism
making it.
films.
Phil, give us the second reason why you should or shouldn't watch this movie.
How do you pronounce her name? Ellen.
Ellen Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn. That's the second reason for me. The whole film just falls apart when she comes. Like, I was bad up to then, but it just went on a nosedive straight away when she came into it. I was reading about they kept throwing money at her and she kept saying no. And no, and no, and then they donated something to some school or something to get
Yeah,
her.
the actors
Paid a
studio.
scholarship in our name, wasn't it?
She's
Yeah.
a president of an actor studio, not the actor studio with James Lipton actor studio, but some other actor studio, and they doubled her salary that they were offering her, and she donated it all back into the school because she didn't want it.
And it was all, yeah, I already are talking about spoilers, but this was movie. It was actually kind of offensive, wasn't it, to the original, like with what they done with her character.
It was a slap in the face.
Yeah, it was horrible,
Absolutely.
absolutely disgusting.
Um,
Probably the most non-horror film, the least scariest film I've ever seen in the cinema.
right. So that's two reasons. The third reason, was there anything scary about this film at all? Was there anything that made it a horror movie, or was it just because it had The Exorcist on the title?
I love jump scares up against the
I,
window.
I was going to say they love the jump scares, but the jump scares kind of remind me, and we're going to get very highbrow to show we're very good at film criticism and history here. It was less a jump scare of like trying to be scary. It felt like there's like a very famous jump scare in Citizen Kane of the cockatoo. It just makes a loud noise because they thought audiences will be asleep. Every jump scare in this felt like that to me. because it was like really obvious it was coming. I was like, I can see it's going to happen. It's just because the movie is boring and I'm about to fall asleep, so they need me to stay awake. Okay, I'll sit up on my seat. It's not a jump scare. It's just sit up on my seat. Okay, I should probably pay attention if I want to review this scare. Horrendous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the previous movie, the demon was Pazuzu. In this movie, not mentioned, but the movie is Lamashtu. Which this is like a fourth reason why you shouldn't watch this movie. Lamashtu is a demon, right? He preys on pregnant women who during childbirth to feed on newborn infants. His sworn enemy is none other than Pazuzu. They're actually sworn enemies, and Pazuzu can be invoked to protect against Lamashtu. So there's two demons who are sworn enemies, but now for some reason they brought Ellen Burstyn's character back because they've already known each other, which makes no sense because it's two different demons.
I didn't even pick up on the fact it was a different demon.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Pazuzu, and that was why they were like, "Oh, it knows who I am." That was the only reason some of that made sense.
Yeah.
So I guess the demons are just chatting in hell, being like, "Oh, this one."
But they're sworn enemies. They do not like each other.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is me getting annoyed in real time. I'm getting hot on the collars right. Like.
Well, if you're into Medo-Pomanian mythology, you can read up on both those demons and their actual history of why they're sworn enemies and why they don't like each other and why there was no way in hell that they would tell each other about what happened in the 1970s, 50 years ago. Phil, we'll come to you for the fifth reason. Editing. You're the editor, you're the filmmaker on this. What did you think of the overall film, direction wise and editing?
Pacing was all over the place. I was only thinking about it before we came on. I think there's no middle act. It seems to go from this opening thing where the girls are found. There's no sort of dread, is there, during the middle of it? It just kind of goes straight to the end. The editing is just, I don't know, it didn't make no sense. Some of the scenes were just, I don't want to say it's rushed, but just seems like they could go back and do another few edits for sure.
It's because it's going to be a trilogy. They didn't leave anything for the next one, did they really?
No, but I read today that they're going to restructure the next two. So they're going to drop whatever they had planned and go with a new angle. It was that bad.
That's what's so weird with this, because and again, I think as much as the obvious comparison everyone's making is Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy, because it's a legacy sequel in the horror franchise that he's doing here again. It's this really felt to me like more. It really felt like Force Awakens, down to we're bringing back the old character, and then at the end, hey, here's another character we didn't know if we were going to see. Instead of Luke Skywalker, it's fucking Linda Blair. It's it really kind of gave me that vibe. I guess Force Awakens had some redeeming qualities, but their big mistake that most people say is that they didn't plan out a trilogy. I don't know if there's there's not really anything planted here for. And then the next one, I guess Linda Blair could be in the next one. But any of these characters, and again, the characters are paper thin in this anyway. Why would any of them return? I don't know. It's just really baffling. This is why I keep saying it is the stupidest move I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I guess they were all about streaming, and between all these streaming properties, it is incredibly ridiculous why they would ever spend that much money to make this happen and then not bother getting people excited for a sequel. They could have made 40 cheap Exorcist films.
Committed anything
for that, just for buying the rights. It is insane.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Gordon Green. There was a six reason why you should or shouldn't watch it. Before he passed away, William Friedkin, the writer and film critic Ed Whitfield, posted this on Twitter, and Friedkin once said to me, "Ed, the guy who made the new Halloween sequels is about to make my movie, The Exorcist. That's right. The signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't know. I don't want to be around when this happens, but if there's a spirit world, I can come back I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell. Do you think he's coming back to make this man's life a living hell?
That's
100.
the only way. The only way I want David Gordon Green to direct the sequel is if he is possessed by William Friedkin.
He's all like a puppet.
Maybe,
Just like, you do
like,
this.
exactly. Maybe then he'll see sense. But like, I mean, God, obviously there's so many reasons why William Friedkin is the last. But like, God, like he had a fucking amazing way with words, and I would love to have seen him tear this movie and David Gordon Green a new asshole. It would have been amazing. Like I saw him just like I saw a clip of him during the week, and it was on about how him and Al Pacino had kind of clashes of heads creatively when they made film Cruising, and he's like, Al Pacino says you should have done this, and he just went, I don't give a flying fuck through a rolling donut what Al Pacino thinks. And I was like, what a way with words. Amazing. Like, but yeah, Jesus. David Gordon Green, like, and again, he's a Marmite director for a lot of people. Some people love him, some people hate him. A lot for me, I'm kind of middle of the road. He's made some stuff I love. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Pineapple Express, a great film, but like, I would never look at that film and say,
It's a
oh, you know what?
stoner movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. He did like a lot of indie dramas. He did some great TV work. He's done stoner comedies. He did Your Highness and stuff, and it's kind of like he's just all over the map. He does not have any kind of consistent tone or quality that would make him the person to nail an Exorcist sequel when basically no one has, except again William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist with Exorcist 3. Like, so it's like
It'll be like Lauren Michaels trying to make a Peaky Blinders movie or something. Like, it's just two different worlds. It doesn't make sense.
Thought those how much religion has changed as well.
A lot.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that this film like could have done interestingly. Like if it like obviously there was a lot more of a religious society back when the original Exorcist was made, and this film kind of hints at like, hey, there's other religions, but it's just kind of it doesn't fully engage with it. It's kind of like there was exorcisms in all religions and cultures, and it goes into like is it voodoo or some maybe an unnamed religion. I don't know if they're specific. And then they kind of do a big old like Avengers of all religions at the end. And it's really strange, you know.
Part 8 of why you shouldn't watch it is, exorcism is a pretty much Catholicism, like it's Christianity. Like, so you have at least 3 or 4 different religions in the scenes at the end. Is there? There's definitely voodoo.
Yeah, I think there's a few different branches of Christianity. There's voodoo, and I guess like our lead character he's kind of, I guess, agnostic or a lapsed Catholic perhaps.
Does that
there's a lot
that's never going to work. It doesn't make any. Again, it's something that doesn't make sense of why these people would ever come together for
I do think
when they don't believe in the same thing.
One of the funniest scenes I thought in this movie was where they had to like it was just like a council of priests just discussing like I was like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted in our Exorcist movie. The administration side of being a priest. Fascinating stuff. Like, the priests are actually kind of cool and interesting and actual characters in the original Exorcist. Whereas in this one, they're all just sitting around being like, we can't do this. And they got like the most diverse selection of priests to have this discussion. And then they like treat like the one priest character that we kind of know, I guess, in that he's in one scene beforehand. Be like, it was literally like when Hulk shows up in the first Avengers film. It's like, oh, here he is, and he gets his neck snapped. And like, that's why did you do that? It's just so pointless. And again, it's not. I hate to be in a position where I'm like, yeah, more religion, but like,
it's just, it was a nasty looking neck snap, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I think it's kind of emblematic of some of the problems with this film in general. Like the neck, obviously, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the neck spin from the original. It is that, and that's what they were casual fans. But also the director in the original Exorcist, that's how he dies. We just don't see it. And like a big problem with this film is that this film tells you everything, every single detail. We never really find out how Reagan gets the demon in her. It's implied it's a Ouija board. In this, it's like, we're doing this. Here's how she's possessed. It's like it told us every single detail where there was never any doubt, and it became such a more supernatural film as a result. Like, and it kind of took so much of the suspense. Like, so much of the original Exorcism is really impressive and gripping because it is just a straightforward drama that eventually becomes this clash with religion and demons. Whereas this one, it's like supernatural from the get-go. So like we know all these medical tests are pointless, and we know that's going to be the case anyway. But it took any narrative tension out of it, where I was just like, get to the spooky shit, because apparently that's what this movie's going to be.
Number nine reason, the ninth reason why you shouldn't watch it. This time we had two girls who were possessed. Previously in the first film, Linda Blair, Regan was the one possessed. Phil, what did you think of the acting of the two girls in the possession wise?
Angela wasn't bad. Catherine's role was just non-existent. There was literally one scene where in the church and besides that they gave her absolutely nothing. I don't know. Did they force us to do it because it wanted to be different? What do you reckon? Do you reckon they just forced us into it because it's different? This hasn't been done before.
What with two?
You're really putting Phil in the hot seat there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you're like, she's on a child actor. But yeah, no, I do think they gave pretty solid performances overall, and I do agree that Angela was the main. I can't remember the other girl's name. What was the other girl's name again?
Catherine.
Yeah, again, she was barely. It really feels, and she looks a fair bit like Linda Blair. When she was younger. I don't know if that was just it, but like, she's not really a kind of a character. And it really just feels like she's only there for the end of the film to have a kind of a dramatic moment that we probably get to like. But I thought the acting was fine. I think like even that church scene kind of became funny when it shouldn't have been, and there was a couple of scenes where it was unintentionally funny, and it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this if you're not going to take it seriously?
One thing that irked me about that church scene is she's in the church the whole time, and for some reason she goes out the front door and next makes a grand entrance again instead of just standing up in the pew and walking through the church doing that instead. Why did she have to leave?
They leave the big trailer shot of her walking all the way up the aisle screaming, because if you just got out of her seat, it wouldn't be as interesting narratively, I guess. Because literally every trailer I've seen is the girl walking up the aisle covered in blood, and we're meant to go, ah! Whereas if she just walked up from her aisle, I guess it would be like, excuse me. But again, absolutely agree. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Promo logic.
Well, the girls have Linda Blair to thank because she was on-site consultant for both actresses. She was there on site for them to, get in character and pick her brain or whatever she has to do as a consultant. Yeah, this is how you be possessed.
Yeah, there's definitely one scene where they're being brought in the hospital bed that was very much like when Linda Blair is snapping up, and then really put it in my head.
There wasn't a lot like that though. They had like this is the 10th reason why you shouldn't regarding the visual effects, special effects and stuff like that from the first film. Like 50 years ago, the special effects, visual effects in the first film were far superior to this, considering the technology they have these days to make stuff that happened in the first film even better. Like, why didn't they go down that route of having the head spin or the bed, all that stuff?
It actually felt phenomenally cheap as a film, I thought. Yeah, like it's only really the end where we get all that, and you could probably make that same argument for the original Exorcist, but like even like they have visual. First of all, I don't like putting visual effects in this. Just seems wrong, and like it was so stupid when they have like the exorcism scene at the end, and they basically seem to cop up a little bit of demon, and it floats into the fire. I was like, what bullshit is this? It just didn't make they're like, oh, it's working. Like it's just, and I think to a certain degree you have to have a lot of kind of gooey, disgusting stuff, because that's a lot of exorcisms in general. To really count a real exorcism, there's a lot of coughing up bile, getting sick. Some people even reports people coughing up nails and things like that. That's kind of, you need to kind of get your hands a bit mucky. And I feel like this movie kind of did a little bit of that too late. But I feel like it's surprising how kind of reserved it was in some ways. Like I'm thinking of like the scenes that the things they made Linda Blair say back in the 70s, or like the scene with the crucifix
Mm-hmm.
in the original. They had kind of nods to that, but they all felt
Mm.
so surprisingly pedestrian. And I know we have to protect young actors from that kind of thing, obviously. But I feel like you need to find a balance that's going to be shocking, because the original Exorcist, even though a lot of people are probably tamed to the idea now, was shocking. And there's nothing shocking about this film. And that's a real shame, because that's why the whole thing is just a kind of waste of time. It's very obvious
Yeah.
where the whole thing is going. That's a shame.
The
Phil?
end of it, absolutely shockingly bad. The third act was one of the worst things I've. It was just like, wasn't it just like randomness, and the whole thing with the priest wouldn't come in, and then he comes back, and it's just like, I just wanted it to end, and then ending it with Linda Blair and the whole mother to I love you and all this kind of like, how does she even know if they don't like each other? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I got a lot of eye rolls out of this film, but I definitely had a laugh when he's like, "Hey, priest, the fight's in there." I was like, I saw their fight. It's not that dramatic. We are not presenting it as the way where that's cool. You're just like, this is so cringe. And yeah, Linda Blair, like, we haven't even talked what happened to poor Ellen Burstyn. Like, I mean, they brought her back. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I think the characterization is a little bit weird and off anyway with that character. Like, she wrote a book about Reagan, and Reagan was like, "Hey, you can't do that. We can't see each other anymore." And it's like Reagan doesn't remember the events of the exorcism at all, um, when she's possessed. And it's like, is that really how this character would have acted? Is it really a case that the mother would have written a book on exorcism? And I also don't get, like, they kind of make a, and I hope it's a joke, because otherwise it's one of the worst lines I've seen in a film in years, where she was like, "Those priests didn't let me in because of the patriarchy." I was like, I assume that was a joke because your man's reaction was kind of jokey. I was like, if that's not a joke, it genuinely is
There's
a Hall of Famer
there,
bad line.
there's no jokes in this film other than the whole film.
Like, if that's genuine, it's like, oh well, oh, I wonder why the priest didn't let you in. Maybe because they know how to do an exorcism, and also to keep him safe.
They don't
Maybe that's
though.
why.
They don't.
Maybe it wasn't about gender. Oh, I don't know. But like, even that aside, it's so dumb that like they treat her like as if like, here comes the expert, and it's like, they kind of imply that I guess she's been going around to other exorcisms maybe or something, and I'm like, this woman was an actor and her daughter got possessed, and they basically kind of downplayed that in throughout the whole thing. They were kind of like, no one should know
Mm-hmm.
about this. So like, all of a sudden she's like, I'm writing a book, and now I'm an expert on exorcisms. And her expertise on exorcism is she goes up to a room by herself. Ellen Burstyn, who is now like 80, maybe even young, I don't know, maybe older again. They're like, yeah, let her take on the girl. It's like, you got slapped across the room by this girl, and now you're like, yeah, that's okay. Let the demon take the old lady, and she gets her two eyes stabbed out. And then they sit her in a bed for the rest of the film, where there's psychic things going on. There's lights flashing, as if she knows, as if there's some reason why the whole neighborhood's lights are flashing, or she's aware of the psychic connection. It is so painfully stupid. And like, Ellen Burstyn is a phenomenal actress. Obviously, she had no intention of acting in this,
Didn't want to
either
be
from a
there.
performance, like again, if I actually got the scholarship, if I was like on a scholarship because of this film, I'd feel very guilty. I would be like, I'm so sorry that you got me to this position, and you had to go in this film
You
for me to
lost your
get here.
eyes for this.
Like, ah, why was that? Like, I guess it was shocking. If you want to be really shocking, kill her off, but do it in an interesting way, not just like that is literally. I think that's almost degrading. That is almost disrespectful. Like, we poked out her eyes, and now she's just in a hospital bed. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, thanks for that.
Made no sense.
Baffling. Okay.
Okay, so we have to score it out of 10, obviously, as we do. You can't go below 0, so no minus scores here, Larry. It has to be 1 to 10. So, Phil,
I'm going to
out
say
of 10.
2.
2.
This is awkward because I actually like I've been keeping ratings of everything I watched this year, and I have not given this a rating yet or ranked it anywhere. It's not might not be the worst film I've seen this year, but that's really low. Like, it's probably I would say a 3 out of 10, but I could easily see it being a 2. I'll be honest, the worst thing I can say is that like I never want to see this again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like ever. Even if they're like if they make a new one, I'm like, this is the one time I'll be grateful that there's not much connective tissue between them, or they didn't set much up, because I know like it was a dull, boring experience. I didn't fall asleep. It's like another reason it got us there, and the girls' performances, and the lead was okay as well. Leslie Odom Jr. I keep trying to say his name, and I'm like Lamar Odom. I'm like, it's not Lamar Odom. And yeah, I mean, aside from that, it was it could have been longer, so I'm glad it was short. Again, this is the biggest faint praise I've ever heard. It's
Yeah.
it's not good. I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend anyone seeing this,
I
even when
I'm
it's on
giving
streaming.
I'll give it a 2 as well. It is getting that extra score, or not a 1, because of the length of the film. It wasn't a struggle because it was so short. If had it been an extra half an hour, I don't think I would have stayed to watch the end, or would have just skipped to the end to see what happened and just turned it off.
Is this
Again,
worse than Exorcist 2?
I've never seen Exorcist 2. A lot of people have said at least the Exorcist 2 was weirder and tried to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like the big critique of this is that it did nothing
The
different.
only thing the Exorcist 2 had
Everything.
was that's where they actually, like, Pazuzu wasn't mentioned in the first film, even though he was in the novel. It was Exorcist 2's where his name actually first appeared on screen. So that's all Exorcist 2 really had going for it. Like, just this film didn't make any sense. It makes even less sense now that they're making a trilogy, because
Well,
No,
revamped
the
one
way-
now. See what they do.
no, like,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fearful
well,
because the way they ended it, because the two women are teaming up, and I'm fearful now that they're going to snatch stuff off the TV series and have them team up for some reason in a second movie, and she's going to be blind, but she's going to have the third eye vision shit or some crap like that.
oh God, I wish
But
you had. That is
wait, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse
Please.
because she's still kind of possessed by Pazuzu. They're going to go after the other demon from this movie, and this is going to be the lead. And I just feel something really bad coming out of it.
What? They might as well do that. Like, they've made it very clear they can't make an earnest, actual, sincere horror film out of The Exorcist, so they might as well just go full schlock. Fucking send Ellen Burstyn to hell and have her fight fucking demons with a sword or
Just
something.
bring back Sam and Dean Winchester, just
Go
kill
for it.
everybody
Yeah.
in the franchise.
Yeah, and they're going to bring back fucking Father Karras to the CGI fest. He's going to walk around and get his boxing training. He's going to punch out a demon. It's going to be amazing.
Lads, that was Exorcist Believer. If you have or haven't seen it yet, let us know what you think in the comments if you have seen it. If you aren't planning on seeing it and you're not going to see it because of this video, let us know in the comments and you can thank us later. Tom is no longer a priest. He's had enough. He's left the clergy. He's broken his vows already after one
short
day.
run. It lasted about as long as the Exorcist film, and then I was like, actually, you know what? There is no God.
At the time of this film, and it's the 12th. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th. That is the day this film was originally supposed to be released. So you can thank Taylor Swift for not going to see it tomorrow, because there she is. Tim, his little Funko Pop, custom made Funko Pop. I hope somebody makes a Funko Pop of Pazuzu. I want one of them.
Yeah, there is actually a new Exorcist one's out. Regan, I think.
Does the head spin on it?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, that would be a tremendous look.
A little button at the back from the ones you used to punch, but just a spinning head. Just whoa.
Yeah. I just see what worry with.
Before we
go, funny thing is, I have one question before.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Will you watch the sequels?
If we have to. If this podcast takes off and we're making millions from sponsorships and they ask us, they review it, then maybe.
I find there's so many films that I would only watch because I talk about movies, and it's kind of depressing at times. And I feel like that is going to be one of them where I'm like, I might as well. It got me out of the house, out of there. That's why it's up to 3. I had something to do for the night, even though I was like half delirious from lack of sleep. That might have been the best way to experience it, to be honest.
Lads, on that note, Tom, /Tober, you're calling it /Tober?
Yeah, /Tober. I'm in the middle of it here. A pop called Pod. I'm we're kind of bumping out a lot of slasher-based content. I can tell you the first one has already gone up. I reviewed the first season of the Chucky TV series, which is awesome because the first video series I basically did was talk about the Chucky movies. And yeah, the first time doing a TV series on a series book, which is awesome. Hasn't gone up yet as of this recording, but by the time this comes out, we will also have top 13 Friday the 13th kills, which was
Nice.
a lot of fun. Also, hoping we're going to get a video that I have recorded with you guys up pretty soon, which was us discussing all the Halloween films called Halloween, which is the David Gordon Green one, as we were just discussing, the Rob Zombie one, and the original, comparing all of those for a new series that we're very excited to launch. And aside from that, I might have another slasher thing coming up, but I don't want to say too much, but we'll see. But yeah, very exciting time over on the channel, so definitely head over to Pop Club Pod, like and subscribe, please.
Phil, how close are we to the film being finished?
I'd say a month.
A month.
I would say a month. Yeah.
Do we have a release date official yet?
No. That's one thing I don't have.
Not before the end of the year?
I'd love it to be in Indy Cork, but we'll see.
When is that?
December. Yeah, December.
Keep an eye out for it. What's it called? Is it
A hell of a
difference?
Yeah.
Hopefully
all going well.
Well, we'll see. We hopefully it will come out.
There will be a screening in a cinema, but eventually, either way, because we will be able to arrange it.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, it could be the new year though.
Lads, if you're not following Deep Red Productions, keep an eye out. They'll have all the details off.
There will be a few projects of ours though around the coming months in a few festivals.
Okay, do you have stuff ready to go, or are there festivals coming up?
Yeah, we just finished Emmett's short movie, which will probably be in Indy Cork in December.
Oh, sweet.
A 1950s sci-fi movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it black and white?
It's black and white.
Nice.
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 It took a long time to do, but we're nearly there.
I had an idea for a film last night, actually. The black and white. Because of Tony Storm's new gimmick on AEW, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a silent movie kind of thing she did. And I was like, back in the 30s, they had vampire movies, they had Frankenstein, but they never had any zombies in the 1920s or 30s silent movies. And I was like, somebody needs to make a 5 or 10 minute short silent movie about zombies. They just have
I'd love to
screaming with the writing and some chase music.
A horror musical.
It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
Lads, thanks for struggling through Exorcist Believer for the channel. We really appreciate it, even though we don't really appreciate the movie, and it'll never be one of those movies that are underappreciated or a cult classic. So we'll leave it there. Tom, Phil, thanks for coming on. Lads, as always, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Check out all our channels, all our videos on the channel. We will have our Halloween October episode coming up towards the end of the month. We are counting down the top 10 slasher movie remakes or requels or sequels. Last year we did the top 10 slasher villains, so this is just a remix of those films. This will be coming up in the next 2 weeks, so keep an eye on the channel for that. And everybody, enjoy your October. If you're going out for Halloween, be careful. Do not take candy from strangers or apples with blades in them. You know, they're just not very nice to eat.